What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. So you guys just watched me build that welding table series, well, just one video. Got that all finished up, got it working good. It works great. I mean, it's a great table. But our main workbench is needing of another table, a more sturdy table. So I am building this. This right here is what will be the top of the table. This is nothing more than some 6x8 box steels, about a 1/4 inch thick, in 3-foot long sections, and 10 of them. So I have them all cut perfectly, and they're all lined up as straight as I can make it with there. So this is going to be the main top of the table. I'm going to be flipping it over, then putting on a 1/4 inch thick steel plate across the entire table to make it to smooth the working surface. I have a bunch of this angle iron, really thick, about almost 1/2 inch thick angle iron that's going to be on each corner coming up. So this is actually going to be the bottom of the top of the table, if that makes sense. So I have these pieces of 2x2 box steel right here, laying here, that if I went ahead and just welded these box steel all together like this, and then flipped it over and did the same thing, there's a pretty good chance, well, not a chance, but a pretty high probability of this thing being pretty well warped when I got it all done, because of the heat warping on this side but not the other side. If I did it each one welded, flipped it right over, did another weld, back and forth, I could probably get away with it. But this is going to be, this right here is about 600 pounds right here. So it's kind of hard to move. So instead I'm going to clamp every single piece as good as I can, and then clamp these pieces that are straight to it and weld everything to this first. I'll then go back and weld the other side, and then weld this all up. So it'll make sense more when I start welding it. But basically those pieces are just to keep it all straight and square, and I'm on a concrete floor, so it should help to keep it pretty square. And if it's not 100% perfect, it's not a huge deal, it's just a workbench. But let's go ahead, fire the welder up, and start stick welding this thing together. Alright guys, got this thing pretty much all welded up on the bottom side here. I still need to flip it up and do some more welding, but I want to go ahead and flip this thing over so I can weld all these places underneath it. But this thing weighs around 550 pounds, so I can move it, but I cannot pick it up, or I cannot flip it up. So I brought in the beast. Let's make sure I work with this thing. guys, it is the next day and it is much colder out here, but we're still working on this thing. So I got this thing completely welded up as you saw in the time lapse, except for now I got to weld on the legs. Got these legs all cut, all the exact same angle iron, 3x3, and I'm setting this table at 41 inches. So I took a look at all our workbenches that we have and kind of did the average of each one, which one I like the best. And 40 to 41 inches was kind of the top, or kind of the best. So I got these at 41 inches. I can always take these, cut them down, or add to them later if it's not tall enough or short enough. So that's kind of the nice thing about metal. So let's go ahead and get these all things clamped up, all the legs clamped up on this thing, weld them all up. Then we can go ahead and start taking this box steel right here, cleaning it all up, and then building the shelf bracket that goes, basically ties all the legs together and builds a shelf. Then I'll put small box steel in between to kind of act as, it'll be an open shelf, but it'll still be a shelf so I can put metal and stuff on it. And then take this thing, give it a paint job, and call it done. So let's start welding these things up. Alright guys, got the shelf done. Well, it's well on the bottom, I started to flip it over to the top. But all the pieces are in, everything is the same distance apart, all the sides are welded up. So now let's go and grab a skid steer, come in here, pick it up, flip it over, set it back down. Then we can weld in all the legs to the box steel. We can weld the top of every one of these support braces for the shelf. Then we can go ahead and cut the 1/4 piece of steel for the top and weld down on top of that. Then grind it all down and paint it. So, we'll grab the skid steer. Alright guys, we have a table. The shelf is all welded up, the legs are all welded up, top's all welded up. So now basically the only thing left to do is, look at those weld beads right there. Alright, basically the only thing left to do is take that piece of 1/4 plate out there and flip this thing over on top of it, mark it out, cut that plate, and then weld on top of that thing. Then we're going to paint this thing. So, we grab the plate. Alright guys, move the table out here to the shed because the garage is getting a little too cramped and we're going to be grinding and painting. I like to keep that stuff out of the garage as much as possible. So, moved out here to the great pole barn. So I cut this piece out, the top piece, a 1/4 inch thick plate that goes over the top of this last night, and I didn't realize until after it got cut, there's a couple of bulges in this metal. Like that right there is really bad. This one right here, I could live with. This one right here, annoying. So I hit it a few times with the persuading device, nothing. So I got the device that should definitely make sure that bulge comes out. So let's heat this thing up and get it flattened down. Then we go ahead and weld this piece to the rest of the table. Then we can go ahead and paint it. So let time lapse commence. Got a thing in the garage and it is awesome. The other day I just pulled in here just on this part of the garage and it was sitting about like really uneven, like one leg was like about 5/8 of an inch off the ground. But today they're all on the ground and this thing is incredibly solid. So that's what it looks like when it's all painted. Got the frame all painted. That's metal I just put in there from some of the metal storage I'm going to have in the bottom of the shelf. I still have a bunch more metal out here to put in there. But I still gotta get the vise mount in the corner here. I bought one of the highest quality Central Forge, best brand in the world. Harbor Freight. Gotta mount that in the corner there, just 3 bolts. Should bolt in there in the corner with that box tube, hopefully. If not, I'll figure something out. And then, still gotta clean up all this stuff, but that's not gonna be too big of a job. But it's in there, it fits awesome, and it is really, really good. So, in a future video, you'll probably see me, I'm gonna try to build, the way I build it like this, all the box steel I had was in 6 to 8 foot lengths. So the table is 6 foot, just over 6 foot long. So I could have turned the box steels the other way and made it much simpler, much easier to build. But we had an idea, and that idea is to build drawers that pull out for each one of these slots. So that could take some engineering and some time, so that's going to be a couple months down the road. But that's definitely something I want to build in the future. So that's why it looks like this. It looks kind of weird right now, but eventually it'll look really, really nice with all this painted black. The little handles here that you just pull in and out. So still got to build a roller system for them, all that stuff, but that's not going to be anytime soon. So we got way more projects before then. But that's pretty much exactly how you build a 7 foot by 3 foot or a 6 3/4 foot by 3 foot, probably overbuilt workbench. weighs, the final weight was 1,050 pounds, which is moderately heavy. And by the time I get the metal on the bottom of that, I put about 200 pounds there now. I got another couple hundred pounds there. So I'll be easily pushing 1,500 pounds. This entire table is all done, which is awesome because old table, which you saw, is pretty rickety, and this thing is basically unmovable. So I am super excited and can't wait to start building stuff. So anyway, that's how I build it, and I will see you guys on the next video.